Hi guys, I'm Jesse from Exo Terra, and I'm very excited to introduce you to our redesigned terrarium we are calling the Advanced Amphibian Habitat. This is going to be under our amazing new product line called Frogs & Co. The Co is referring to the cohabitants that you would include in a bioactive terrarium setup. We'll get into what bioactive is in another video, but today we're going to cover the features and benefits of what makes this the ultimate terrarium for the frog keeper in mind. Before we get started, I'm going to begin removing the packaging. And I'm going to show you a part of the package that you may find useful. When you flip around the cardboard backing, you will notice that you can use this as a beautiful tropical background for your terrarium setup. Once the packaging is removed, you'll notice there's a box inside. You probably also just noticed I opened one single door. The original Exo Terra terrariums have dual opening doors. We decided to have one door to allow for an unobstructed view of the beautiful interior of your planted terrarium. So let's see what's inside the box. We have tubing. And a bulkhead drain. Yes, these terrariums are equipped with a drain. We'll get into why a bit later. An elbow connector. And a valve. Now let's go over the features of the terrarium itself. Let's start from the top of the terrarium and work our way down to the bottom. Right away, you've noticed that half of the cover is a front panel of glass, whereas the back half is our high quality stainless steel mesh to allow for the placement of small heat lamps and UVB lighting. The reason for half of the top of this terrarium being covered up is to help maintain a higher humidity level that is required by various species of amphibians and reptiles that would dwell in a planted bioactive terrarium setup. So let's show you how we access the cover. It unlocks here and the cover opens up on a hinge. Once in that vertical position, you may pull up on this cover and it will detach from the hinges. I should show you the inlet ports. There are two inlet ports on either side. They are self-closing, a little different compared to our ports on the original Exo Terra terrarium. This is to allow for the tubing for the monsoon misting systems to pass through and wiring for thermometers and hygrometers. Let's access the interior of the terrarium. You'll notice the hole drilled in the bottom glass for installing the bulkhead drain. And this next feature is what we're calling monsoon ready. You will see hooks lining the interior of the frame of the terrarium and a foothold for securing the nozzle of the Exo Terra monsoon misting systems. This is so you are no longer required to use the suction cups to secure the tubing and the nozzles against the glass. Okay, let's put together the drain assembly. You'll notice I've already attached the tube to the bulkhead drain. Push the tube as far as you can over the ribbing. This is to ensure that you will not encounter any leaks. Once the terrarium is set up with a drainage layer and substrate, it will probably be too heavy to lift up if you have to fix a leak. We will be filling the base of the terrarium with water with the drain assembly installed to test it for leaks prior to setup. You will notice as well that I've already cut the tube with a sharp knife and measured 13 to 13.5 inches, which would bring the tube all the way to the back of the terrarium and stand. I like to have it come out the back because I like to have my drain assembly out of sight. However, if you want to have it come out the side or the front, it is whatever you prefer. let's connect the elbow connector. Remove the lock nut. Push the lock nut over the tube. Push the tube onto the elbow connector and tighten the lock nut into place. The reason for the elbow connector is when you are pulling down on the tube to drain the base of the terrarium, if you don't use the elbow connector, you could end up kinking the tubing a little bit, and this will obstruct the flow of water. The elbow connector helps prevent this. You'll notice I've already connected the bottom half. Now let's connect the valve. We're going to push the tube onto the valve and tighten the lock nut as tight as you can. All right, the drain assembly is complete. Let's install it on the terrarium. Okay, we're going to install the drain assembly onto the terrarium. Place the bottom part of the bulkhead drain beneath the hole that's drilled in the glass. Then you're going to insert and screw the top piece of the drain into place. Make sure it's straight and aligned to ensure that you will have a nice, snug, and secure fit. And tighten as far as you can go. And we're done. The drain assembly is complete. This is what the drain assembly would look like once installed, and the terrarium is sitting on the stand. Tubing goes from the bulkhead to the back of the terrarium and stand to the elbow connector and down to the valve. The valve is closed. Now it is opened. Be sure to keep any electrical wiring out of the way, especially when you are draining the base of the terrarium. So, what is the need for the drain? While keeping many species of reptiles and amphibians that require a high humidity level in the terrarium environment, we've encountered the issue of water accumulation in the drainage layer. And the issue is, how do you get rid of it? Having the drain in place is the ultimate solution for this. And I'm going to demonstrate how you remove the water. So I've had this sitting for a few hours now with water in the bottom of it to ensure that our drainage system has no leaks. And I'm going to remove this water from the terrarium now. So I have my bucket and I'm going to open the valve. As soon as I open the valve, the water comes rushing through. And there you have it. The easiest way to remove water from your drainage layer of your terrarium. And there you go. The base of the terrarium has been drained. So, we've covered all features and benefits of the advanced amphibian habitat. But I forgot to mention one thing. There's not just one advanced amphibian habitat, but there are two. Introducing on the left, the 18 by 18 by 18 inch dart frog terrarium, and on the right, the 18 by 18 by 24 inch high tree frog terrarium. Stay tuned for our next videos where we'll cover our latest lighting, bioactive substrate, and maybe we'll even get our hands a little dirty while planting these terrariums and perhaps even including some live frogs. Thank you for watching today, and we'll see you next time.
Find us on social media or visit exoterra.com.
Exo Terra. Make your reptiles feel at home.